Hey, what's going on with you boys? I'm back at it with another video. Today we're doing the top 5 worst Shikais you could have. This order is going to go from best to worst. Number 1 being the worst and number 5 being okay. So first of all, I want to make sure that you guys understand that if you do have any of these Shikais, doesn't mean that you're garbage or you're terrible at the game. It just means that there are better options out there and that you should definitely try it. And make sure to go to part 2 of this video, which I'm going to be posting soon, and you're going to be finding out which are the top 5 Shikai slash Bankais. Without further ado, let's get right into it. At number 5, we have Theater. Theater is very versatile. I do personally enjoy the move. The C move, which is pretty good, you can get behind somebody and slash them with a sword, which throws them off a little bit. But after a couple of rounds or after a couple of minutes, they're going to start to catch on to this and they will be able to counter this. Especially if you have Kendo, easy block. Kakuta, easy block. You could counter this pretty easily if you just try. Now, moving on to the X move, you could easily counter that by just stepping away or just blocking it. The move itself is not that impressive, it's not that fast, and it's pretty predictable. Moving on to the C move. The C move is a counter. Now, if you hit this counter, it will do a great amount of damage. I love this counter. I personally would recommend this counter for new players, but there's better options out there. There is better options out there. You can use Benihime, which has a great counter, which is the X move, which tricks the opponents. And if you guys watch my streams, you can see that I tricked a lot of people into thinking that I was there the whole time I was behind them. Now, moving on to the Bankai T. Okay, it's the T move, it's okay. It's not crazy. It definitely does a pretty good amount of damage. Now, moving on to the G move. The G move itself is just mid. Like, when you get Bankai, you're supposed to feel excited. This is not gonna make you feel excited. The moveset itself is just, it's not the best. Not the best. Not the most surprising, but not the best. At number 4, I'm gonna have to put Creation. Now, some of you may be figuring out why did I put Creation at number 4. Some of you may have Creation. Some of you may not even want to hear about Creation. Now, Creation is pretty basic. It's so predictable and slow that you could dodge this while not even looking at your screen. The Z move itself is pretty slow. You could either dash away or you could counter that heavily into a deadly combo, which will make you lose a lot of health. Now, it does have an M2, which you throw swords at people, but come on, guys. That is so slow that you could just jump over that. Moving on to the X move. The X move itself is terrible in my opinion. It's definitely a great combo extender, which you can start a combo just off of hitting them with the X move, and maybe if you have a Kuda, straight into that, you could counter that, or you could use speed and straight just murk them. Straight Flash Fang into that, and then Flash Fang into that, which it has pretty good combo starters. I will say that, but it's not the best Shikai I've seen so far. Now, the C move itself, I don't know what to think about this. It says click and C once drops a sword on the floor. Click and C again towards an enemy, creates a zipline that guard breaks if your opponent isn't blocking. So if I'm not blocking, it guard breaks, but if I'm blocking, it doesn't guard break. Like, I don't like this at all. It's pretty mid. It's not exciting at all. But moving on to the Bankai. Okay, the Bankai itself is low-key pretty freaking nice. I do enjoy the T move. The T move, it's really hard to dodge. You don't know when it's coming because all you just see is swords smashing into you, which is a great combo extender. You can do a lot of combos. You can do a lot of damage with this. But if you're planning on going on ranked with Creation, I don't think you're gonna have a good match, my man. I rarely see that happen. I rarely see people with Creation, but it's possible. You could be good. You could prove me wrong, but it's not the best. The G move is just a big sword that swings left, right, and you also get, well, it does a good amount of damage. It's AoE slashes. But at the end of the day, I don't think this is the best option. I don't think it is. But it's definitely nice. If you have some combos in mind, if you're creative, it's definitely nice. And you guys can let me know if you guys want some combos made from each of these Shikai slash Bankais. Because I do have some ideas of what combos will work with this. But other than that, there are better, more options available. Moving on to number 3. I'm gonna have to put Judgment here because Judgment itself, the Z move is pretty interesting. It does have a lot of range. Even though it does have a lot of range, it's dodgeable. It's not the best. It's pretty slow. And if you're a fast-paced player and you're doing a lot of rushing, I don't recommend using Judgment. Now the entire moveset, it's questionable. The game is pretty fast-paced. There's no real time to slow down or try to do moves, because you will get murked. You will get comboed instantly. The game is pretty much running, hitting. It's not really slow pace. So Judgment doesn't really fit into this game in my opinion. Now, the Bankai. You throw a whole bunch of hammers, you become a judge. It is cool. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. It's cool. I do enjoy it. It's pretty fire. You get a G move, which is Jury. And Jury, it's not really the best, but you could definitely make something out of it. In my opinion, don't try it. It's not worth it. If you're stuck with it, then okay, you can make some combos out of it, but it's gonna be very minimal combos. These combos are not gonna be great, but if you do have a combo that is great with this, make sure to drop it in the comment section below so that we could rate it 1 through 10 in the comment section and figure out if your combo is good or not. Coming in on number 2, I might get roasted for this and I might get killed in game, but that's okay. It's a mythic. It is Kyoka Suigetsu, and I know you guys are probably like, what, this is a mythic? How can it be so low on the list? Why is it this bad? Well guys, this got nerfed pretty badly, so if you do get this, I'm going to explain why you shouldn't use this. You could definitely make something out of it, but it's not the best experience in my opinion. The Bankai is pretty easy to get. So, getting into the moveset. So we have Z. With Z, you can basically alternate reality. Your opponent will not know that they're getting damaged. Their damage will only show up after the Z, after the purple screen is over, and it will be a 10% increase. And also after that, if you do enough damage, you will get a passive counter that if they hit you, after the Z move is over, your body will be purple, and if they hit you, you will appear behind them. Now, it is interesting, but for a Shikai, it's pretty damn bad, because if you know that your opponent has Kyoka Suigetsu, you're not really worried about, oh, let me take this damage and the 10% increase. No, you're going to attack them because they don't have that much attack moves. Now, the X move is pretty nice. I will say that it's pretty nice. It's not blockable. You could do a lot of combos with that. If you have Kendo, you could just Snyder Flow into it, or you could use Speed and use Flash Fang into it. So it does have a great combo extender, but that's your only real move that's gonna be offensive. Now, moving on to C. C is pretty cool, but if you miss, it's basically useless. So it's like a 1 out of 10 chance. If you hit that move, you basically get a clone that uses all your movesets, but except it doesn't use none of your Shikai movesets. So it is pretty cool. The clone is pretty easy to kill, especially if you're low. If you're low health, this clone is basically useless. This clone will die in a second. It's basically like a shadow clone. Okay, now moving on to the Bankai. The Bankai is low-key dope. I do like the Bankai in the sense of the animation. The animation is pretty lit. It's amazing. I do enjoy it. Now the T move may be hard to hit because it's really just, okay, if they're not running and they see how long you're taking with this, they could dodge this. They could completely dodge this and you have to wait for that cooldown. So the T move, not as expressive. The G move, on the other hand, is pretty freaking dope. It's dope if you're losing the fight. If you're losing the fight, you could potentially win the fight. But if you're winning the fight, you basically only have the T move, the Z move, the X move, and the Z move. That's all you have. That's really all you have. And you only have like 2 of these that are actual offensive attacks. The rest are not. I do not recommend getting Kyoka Suigetsu. I know it's a mythic, but it got nerfed so bad, guys, that you do not want to use this. Trust and believe me on this. Now, coming in at number 1 for the worst Shikai slash Bankai in the game. The worst Shikai for sure is garbage and is Poison. Poison is buns. And if you're good with Poison, then you are definitely top 100 ranked. Now, I'm not saying you can't make some great combos out of this, but I'm saying that it's definitely hard. Why would you make your life harder by using this Shikai slash Bankai? Now, the Z move itself, it's not that good. It's pretty dodgeable. You can predict that. The X move is not that good either. All of these are easily dodgeable. Slither, Z move, easily dodgeable. And I don't understand the reason why Anybody will use this. I mean, it does have the good perk that it poisons your opponent over time, but it's not that good. Now moving on to the Bankai. The Bankai is low-key dope. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's low-key dope. You have T pollution, which is mainly this whole Bankai is mainly just close range. Close range, close range, close range. So if you could pair this with a Hakuda, you probably would do good. But at the end of the day, why would you make yourself go through so much work just to use this? Now, the G move on this is low-key dope too. I do like this. I do like this. But it's easily dodgeable because of how fast the players move, how fast they regen their moves, how fast they could cancel your move sets. It makes this hard. It makes this hard to use mainly because it's close range. Now, I'm not saying all close ranges attacks are bad. I'm just saying this specifically is not the best. If you want to use this as Hakuda, not the best. Speed, not the best. Kendo, not the best. I don't recommend using poison at all. But if you are dealt with poison and that's your last spin for the next week, I do recommend that you just make another account. Now, don't get me wrong, you could make some combos out of this. You can. You definitely can. But I'm just saying that it's not worth using. It's not. It's really not. As you can see, the T move is okay. The T move is like the best part of the Bankai. The G move is dodgeable. The T move, I believe you could dodge that pretty easily. As you can see, this person is standing still, but you could dodge that pretty easily. Like, a better alternative, honestly, would be Berserk. Berserk will be way better than the whole Bankai that poison has. Anyways, you guys let me know what you guys think about this. I do believe that this is the worst Bankais slash Shikais in the game. I want to hear your opinions. Please rate down 1 through 5. What are your favorite Bankais or Shikais, and what are the worst Bankais or Shikais that you ever had? Speak from experience as I am myself, and I'll see you later.